Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Sicilian Corner, aka the steam bath. But do we have air conditioning in this building?
We do. Usually when it's
you're saving it,
no, I have no control over the air conditioning.
really?
I'm not at that level of the organization. No.
It's beyond your pay grade.
Usually when it's warm, it's good. When it's cold, it's good. It's usually the temperate days that are really out to lunch. But
You call this a temperate day?
no, that's what I mean. It's usually good when it's really hot.
Oh, okay.
But today, not so much.
Unbelievable. Hey, duck boat parade today.
Yeah.
I wish they would have done it on a Saturday. I mean, I think it would have been a lot easier for a lot more people to go, in celebrating the Celtics victory. I want to ask you, Lou, a quick question. Why did a couple of days ago they flew down to Miami?
Yeah.
Why? Just to rub it into the heat?
Because they were idiots. No.
What was all that about? Do you know?
They wanted to go to Miami. They were young kids, and they wanted to go celebrate in Miami.
The party life?
Just take a night in Boston and then go to Miami. It would have been fine, but it's like, now I got to come out to a parade and stand in 95-degree heat, and you didn't want to even stay to celebrate? I don't like it. I didn't like it.
Yeah, I didn't get the whole picture there.
No.
Hey, yesterday,
a lot of blowback for that too. Yeah.
Was there?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm not really in the circle. Before I used to really follow it really close. I mean, I love watching them play. They drove me crazy some nights. I mean, that game that they lost by 38 points or whatever, I swear they threw that game. They wanted to win in Boston. I mean, that they can't. Impossible to play that bad. Impossible.
Maybe not intentionally, but it was in their heads. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't. One way or the other, they were going through the motions. Yeah. They were going to save themselves. Yesterday, first day of summer.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I don't know if you guys know this, but yesterday your shadow was the smallest it would be at noontime for the whole year. Yeah, you cast the smallest shadow yesterday. Well, it may come up. You never know. At least now you have. What do you give me the business for?
I have a really good joke, and I don't know whether I should say it in the show.
In this particular situation, I would stay away from it, I think. Hey, listen, we've got two special guests here on the Sicilian Corner. And I know a lot of times most of our shows are on the light side, and that's by design. And we try to be the pulse of the Merrimack Valley area, and I think we're succeeding. And, to see some of the progress that's going on in certain areas that are easy to knock or hear bad comments about, it's really a pleasure. This is Father Paul O'Brien. Father Paul is the pastor of St. Patrick's Parish in South Lawrence, and next to him is the lovely Monica Lucey. And Monica is the principal now of the Lawrence Catholic Academy. And this is why we're doing this show today, because I think it's a shining light in the city of Lawrence. And I think from what I'm seeing, when I go in and out of the city, you see a lot of new buildings going up. You see progress going up. And the arts are really improving in the city, and I believe the arts are very important, and cultural events are very important in any city. And this is the reason why we asked Father Paul and Monica to come in with us and to discuss exactly what's going on. Welcome.
Thank you.
How long have you been pastor of St. Patrick's?
I'm in my 24th year.
So, did you start Cor Unum?
I did. I founded Cor Unum with a group of other people, obviously.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the last time I was in the studio, was when we were building Cor Unum.
You were Bruce Arnold.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So a long time ago.
What an ambitious program that is.
Right. So for anyone who doesn't know, in Lawrence, obviously it's an economically very poor community, and a measure of that is 75% of children in Lawrence at any given time are at risk for hunger. 75% of kids.
Is that right?
It is. So we built Cor Unum as a brand new, large restaurant with restaurant food and waiters and waitresses, just free. And we opened it So we serve breakfast every day for 2 hours, dinner every day for 2 hours, 365 days without fail. And we serve 250,000 meals a year. So that's, again, a measure of, and these are mostly, our guests are mostly working families, adults and children. We obviously serve homeless people and people who are mentally ill, elderly people, disabled people. But most of our guests are just hardworking, regular folks who don't have enough income to properly feed themselves.
Well, we're on that topic. Volunteers play an important role. Would you like that?
Absolutely. So we have just one full-time paid employee, 2 full-time paid employees, 1.5 full-time paid employees, because one does another full-time job for us as well. And everyone else is a volunteer. So the people who cook the meals, the people who serve the meals, the bussers, the people washing dishes, all are volunteers from throughout the Merrimack Valley and well beyond.
You know, I know you don't remember, but Mike Lamazzo was a volunteer.
Oh, great.
And I served some meals.
Come back.
It was very interesting.
Summer is the time we most need volunteers, partially because
people are away.
Go away, and then also because most kids, food is still available through the Lawrence Public Schools, but most kids don't avail themselves of that. So children who are accustomed to getting breakfast, lunch, and often even dinner or something after school at public school or at Lawrence Catholic Academy, we don't serve meals during the summer. So those kids are coming to us for their daily bread.
Well, you know, we were talking earlier, and I said that I grew up in South Lawrence, and you know, I just want to say one thing. We were talking about the NBA, the National Basketball Association. Do you know that I'm older than when the NBA was founded?
You're older than the NBA?
I would never, ever guess that.
How do you think, Monica, how do you think that makes me feel?
I don't think I want to answer that question.
Can you believe that?
You're older than the NBA, is what you're telling me.
I was born in 45.
Yeah, okay.
NBA was started in 46.
Wow.
That doesn't make me feel good.
No.
Jeepers creepers. What's wrong with this picture? Do you follow basketball?
Okay. A little bit. I work on the weekends, which is not an excuse for basketball, but I don't have the access to watching sports the way that a lot of other people do. So if I were picking a team, I actually would be watching a basketball team at any given time.
I've always been partial toward football, but basketball, the excitement, especially if it's a close game, Monica, going back and forth, there's nothing like it. I mean, it can get you so upset you can't fall asleep at night. That's the problem.
Weren't you involved in basketball in college?
I was. I worked at Providence College with the men's basketball team for a couple of years before I started my full education career.
Really? Girl, hey, all right.
I was the academic advisor for the men's basketball team for 2 years.
Good for you.
Yeah.
How challenging was that?
Yeah, really. Where did you find this young lady?
There is a young man named Hector Heredia from Lawrence with whom I'm very close, and he's 32 right now. He went to Regis College, and after Regis went to work at the Hillside School in Marlborough, which is an independent boys elementary school boarding school. Yeah. So Hector was a counselor and coach there. Monica was at Hillside for 15 years. So I met Monica through Hector. Yeah. She was involved in certain things in Lawrence and also would do mission trips to the Dominican Republic every summer. 3 years ago,
yeah,
Monica decided to shift beyond Hillside, and we had a position open for assistant principal, so 2+ years ago at LCA. She came as principal of LCA, assistant principal for a year, and then our previous principal finished up, and Monica got this new job, and Hector came with Monica back to Lawrence, and he's now our dean of students.
Mm. You mentioned Bill Baraki, and he's very involved with your project, right? Yep. And this project consists of building and tearing down 3 buildings, Louis, that are over 100 years old. Mm. I mean, they're tired, electrically, plumbing, the whole 9 yards, and they're doing it in such a way. And Father's going to talk about this. It's not interfering. There's still going to be classes going on. while all this construction is going on,
Wow.
which
Yeah.
I believe, Monica, must really take some organization on your part.
It does. We had to change pickup and drop off. We had to change where the kids play. We had to, there's all sorts of things, but everybody's like, it's really seamlessly sort of happened. And the kids are so excited to watch the building happening in the backyard, basically. So
And
they sit at the windows and they peer out to see what's happening every day. If I go out there with my little hard hat on, they're at the windows going, Miss Lucy, what's happening out there? What are you doing?
It has gone, easy for me to say, surprisingly smoothly,
Yep.
logistically. Particularly, we're in a very narrow urban space.
I can't even imagine.
So dropping off kids with cars in the morning has always been a nightmare with double parking and triple parking. We had meetings with parents before we started construction
Keeping everybody
about a
mobile.
new process. Parents came and everyone agreed it's never going to work. This is Lawrence. This is the Dominican community. It's actually worked extremely smoothly.
I think they're going to be mad when we go back to the old
Yeah.
way when construction's over because it's so easy.
So people have really cooperated, and including the kids.
Across the street,
Yeah.
it's a utility that owns that property, right? The where you're going to have your recesses. now?
So it's Hafner's owns the parking lot. They've
Okay.
leased it to us. And they've actually, their foundation, It Works, has taken over to put in, we've got 2 new basketball nets. They just asphalted the entire thing. They painted kickball lines and hopscotch lines and like basketball lines. So the kids are out there at recess having a fabulous time, and it's gated. So it's
Yeah, I
able
saw
to
the
be
gates.
locked, which
Yeah.
is great.
And important to note, it is literally leased, but it's for free. They've given
Yeah.
us that space, and they've
Yeah.
redone the space for a couple
Well,
of years.
you know something, when you say the word lease and you're giving it away free, it's a tax deduction. All right, let's be honest. All right, I mean,
But interestingly,
No, I'm
that
kidding, yeah.
that
Yeah.
Hafner's on that corner of Parker Street and Salem Street
Salem Street.
was the very first Hafner's station.
So
And
I used to push my Mercury when I ran out of gas. 19 cents a gallon.
so when they moved in, their neighbors were St. Patrick's School and the Sisters of Charity of Halifax across the street.
Yeah,
Their
I
original
remember
neighbors.
that. Yeah,
100+ years. I think they're celebrating their. Could it be 100? No, it couldn't be 100 years. Whatever year they're celebrating, that was their anniversary year. We made a call to them to ask if we could possibly use this space. The day before, they had just
Wonderful.
opened their foundation, and they said, we would love to give you this space. So,
You know
it all goes
something?
back.
Louise was it Fournier?
Yes. Yep.
What a wonderful and generous woman she was.
Yep.
I can't say enough good things about her. The family Hafner has sold the business, but the people that have taken it over seem very, very nice and very agreeable to different projects that you're going to bring up. And like you said, look at what they're doing for you.
Yeah.
Their foundation is expanding, and they're trying to invest principally in Lawrence and other urban communities where they
in the
do
city.
business. Yep.
In the city. You did not have any high-priced consultants. You guys didn't spend $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 to get a consultant to come in and spend 2 years pushing the paper.
Right.
You designed everything yourself. You and your council.
Yeah, so we it's a $30 million project, as you mentioned. It's to build a completely new school behind the current school.
Mhm.
Then the existing school buildings are demolished, and a recreation center is built on part of that footprint and connected with the new school. So it's a total.
What a campus. That's going to be nice.
It'll be beautiful, yeah, state of the art. So it's $30 million, which
For the school or for everything?
both, yeah, which is
For
remarkable.
both?
Yeah, when you're used to hearing public school construction costs,
That's where I was going.
yes, it's a fraction. And anyone who doesn't say, well, how do these public schools, our new school would probably be $150 to $200 million in the public sector. So everyone should ask, I think, well, where
Everybody's
is all that going?
they're going to call you now.
We've received lots of inquiries of exactly how much per square foot are you spending
I was just
to
going to ask
compare
you.
it with municipal.
Yeah.
I don't have that number in my head, but I think my impression is, I'm no expert on this, when you're building often with public funds, you buy the very best of everything. If you go into some public schools, you'll see beautiful bows sound systems in the auditoriums. We don't need a Bose sound system. We need a good sound system.
Well, Reverend, in the last 6 months, we've been asked in the Merrimack Valley to fund a $500 million Whittier Hotech.
Yeah. So, and to note, it's a fully union job. So it's not like we're using non-union labor in any way.
That's an amazing number that you're hitting.
But anyway, back up. So, yes, we did not have a feasibility study. We did not have a development director. We do now, but for our capital campaign, and we spent exactly $0. We just got out. Some other trustees of the school and I went out and pitched this to people who had existing identifications with inner city education, Catholic education, interest in racial social justice, interest in Lawrence. And it turns out there are an awful lot of very good, very generous people who care enormously about the education of children in Lawrence. So we have, of that 30 million, we're at 28, we just have 2 million more to raise. We have 18 gifts of $1 million or more dollars.
We'll talk about that a little later.
Yep.
But right now I have to go to a commercial. And Monica, I want you to pay attention to the commercials, especially on the restaurants. And if they don't make you hungry, all right?
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Louis, why don't you take us out? When we come back, we got a lot to discuss here. We haven't, you know what I mean? We got a lot going on. I don't know if we can squeeze it in and out. You might have to come back.
There you go.
There you
I
go.
have nothing else to do.
Ciao, this is Esther of You, Me, and Sicily. I want to talk to you about Tommy Amin and the great staff at Butcher Boy Market. Families, foodies, and home chefs come together at Butcher Boy to talk good food and create traditions. They offer the best in quality cuts of beef, pork, lamb, poultry, and restaurant-style steaks and chops. Produce? All of their produce is hand-selected to complement any meal or even to make it your main course. Their deli serves fresh roast beef, turkey, and beautiful imported Italian cold cuts, cheeses, and antipasto. And don't forget the Butcher Boy Bakery, featuring sweet delectables from all over the state, as well as their very own bakery. That's Butcher Boy, where the secret to a great steak is, of course, the steak. Located at 1077 Osgood Street in North Andover, Massachusetts, in the Butcher Boy Plaza. Ciao!
This is David from the Sicilian Corner. You know, Mike, Tom, and I love to go to Salisbury Beach, but we love different things and can never agree where to go. Tom likes the casual family-style dining with the great Italian cuisine, Capri's seaside Italian kitchen and pizzeria. Me? I love the elegant romantic vibes Sea Glass with the amazing view and terrific menu, with prices that make it the place you want to visit each and every week. Mike loves a drink in his hand and a cool ocean breeze right off the surf and the rhythms of a cooler reggae band. We all know Mike loves Bob Marley tunes at Surfside. Who doesn't love a great show? National acts, comedy, regional favorites in the beautiful and intimate Blue Ocean Concert Hall. Lucky for us, Atlantic Hospitality is the host of all of these great places, and they treat everyone like they are Mike Lamazzo. Best of all, we never have to choose. Park the car once and all this fun is right at your fingertips. You can have it all in the heart of Salisbury Beach. Find out all the ways you can have a great night at Salisbury Beach at northshorepavilion.com. And Mike, Tom, and I will see you there.
This is Tom Zappala. Located in the heart of downtown Haverhill, the Haverhill Beef Company is a full-service, old-fashioned butcher shop and meat market that continues to be a valued family tradition since 1952. Peter and Monica Carboni's Haverhill Beef offers individualized service from an outstanding selection of marinated sirloin tips, homemade sausage, marinated chicken, and thick, juicy Chairman Reserve steaks. Your family deserves the best, so call Peter at 978-374-4795 or visit their website at www.haverhillbeef.com.
When you dine at Ristorante Melisse in Amesbury, Massachusetts, you feel at home while enjoying an authentic Italian dining experience not to be forgotten. From the appetizer to dessert, you won't regret your choice. Bring your cravings and appetites. They promise you won't leave hungry or without leftovers for the next day. Takeout and catering are also available. Give them a call or visit them online for the menu, online ordering, and reservations. RistoranteMelisse.com. That's RistoranteMelisse.com. ATEMOLISE.com or call 978-388-4844. Restaurante Molise, where you're treated like family.
Hi, this is Mikey. Do you need to have some work done on a cement walkway, stone steps, or the cement deck around your pool? Recently, I had concrete work done on 2 eyesores on my property. Work was done by New Hampshire Masonry and Construction. They service New Hampshire and Massachusetts. The question becomes, was Mikey happy with the finished product? Not happy, but ecstatic. If your project is brickwork, stone, or concrete, get a free quote for New Hampshire Masonry and Construction. A telephone number for more information, 603-438-9168. 603-438-9168.
Legacy Care Law Firm provides estate planning and elder law services to people in the greater Merrimack Valley and southern New Hampshire areas, with offices in North Andover and Woburn, Massachusetts, as well as Nashua and Salem, New Hampshire. Discussing family and financial matters with an attorney can be intimidating, but our goal is to help you prepare for the future as you preserve your legacy. We help clients qualify for government medical benefits and ensure their estates are preserved for their families so they don't need to worry about their estate being wiped out by high nursing home expenses. Legacy Care Law Firm attorneys are here to support your journey toward a more secure financial future.
At Catadella Funeral Home, we reinvest in our business to provide your family with the best facilities. It begins with a beautifully landscaped exterior, parking for 250 vehicles, and a comfortable and inviting access to our renovated interior. Funerals can be costly, so you should review and compare plans to make sure you receive services that are fairly priced. I invite you to experience the Catadella difference in cost, facility, and service.
Catadella's, honoring and celebrating the lives of the people we loved, providing exceptional care since 1929.
Italian artisan cuisine combines simple, fresh ingredients with time-honored preparation to create an incredible culinary experience. At Tuscan Kitchen, located in Salem's historic Depot District, talented chefs prepare everything in-house from scratch for all to see. Guests enjoy their meal literally in our kitchen as food is prepared right in front of you. Wood ovens burn from morning till night, roasting vegetables, baking bread, and firing delightful thin-crust pizzas. Prime steaks are seared on a wood grill. A rotisserie slowly roasts marinated whole chickens and lamb, while a pasta maker creates fresh fettuccine. More than just artisan cuisine, Tuscan Kitchen features the wine bar, live entertainment, weekly wine tastings, and elegant private dining and event space. Call 603-952-4875 or visit TuscanKitchen.com to make a reservation and learn more about the culinary adventure that awaits. In Italy, cooking is an art form. Tuscan Kitchen. Experience artisan Italian.
Orthopedics Northeast and Essex Orthopedics have joined forces as Mobility Bone and Joint Institute to bring improved access and outstanding medical care. While our name has changed, our dedication to exceptional care remains the same as it has for the past 30 years. Same location, 16 Pelham Road, Salem, New Hampshire.
This is Cindy
and Mike Kunstler,
owners and operators of Four Oaks Country Club and Grazie Italian Restaurant in Drake, Massachusetts.
Grazie Italian Restaurant is the hidden gem of the Merrimack Valley.
Why is that?
We have an incredible chef, Oscar Figueroa.
In the words of local famous chef and restaurant owner Lydia Shire,
Oscar thrives on hard work.
He is capable and gifted.
No one makes better food. Scallops, seared to perfection.
House-made ravioli with farm-fresh local corn.
And buttery, tender, lazy man's lobster, just to name a few.
You have to come experience Grazie Italian Restaurant for yourself.
Grazie Italian Restaurant, located at Four Oaks Country Club, 80 Meadow Creek Drive in Drake, Massachusetts. Hope to see you soon.
Monica just gave me thumbs up, Lou. She's off the Grazies.
Yeah, we all are.
Today, folks, our special guest, in-studio guest, is Father Paul O'Brien. He's the president of a new school, and he's president of the school that exists right now that will not be there very long. When do you think that the demolishing is going to take place of the 3 buildings?
We broke ground for the new school in March, and it's scheduled to be completed.
It's amazing.
Yep, it's scheduled to be completed next July, so a year from now. The kids will move in that September, and then the existing buildings will be demolished in September, October, and the recreation center will be built then through May of 2026.
Yes.
So everything will be
That's
done.
an ambitious time frame?
Yeah, we've got a great contractor.
Is he local?
Lee Kennedy, who's a Boston area general contractor.
Yeah.
They're A+, and unlike when you're having your pool installed and the guy is trying to sell you on something else, you sign a contract, it's $30 million. Everyone wants to get it done, and so no one's interested in delaying. And they're just top quality, so they're on top of everything.
Monica, you have the responsibility. How many children graduated from the school this year? Between you have pre-kindergarten up to 8th grade.
Yep.
So you have somebody for 11 years
Mm-hmm.
in very formidable years.
Yes.
The school plays an important role in how they're going to turn out.
It's a big
11 years when
responsibility.
you think about it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of responsibility. That's where I was going. How do you feel about that?
So this was my first graduating class, like my first group of kids that I got to graduate. And it was like emotional because they're these kids that have grown up at LCA, and I didn't know them back when they were little 3-year-olds,
right.
But I have to imagine that the kids that were in the 3-year-old classroom last year, when they're in 8th grade, like that'll be even more emotional. But to watch them grow up, and even just to watch the progress that they make year to year is unbelievable. Like I can think of several kids that really grew up from 7th grade to 8th grade and have just really like blossomed into young men and women of God.
At that age level, there's so many different ways that someone can go wrong, pick up bad habits, hanging with wrong people. And, the city of Lawrence.
And Mikey knows all of them.
Hey. The city of Lawrence takes its knocks, and some of it may be deserved, but a lot of it isn't. And there are encouraging signs, Louis, as you drive around the city, because I'm in the city quite a bit. You see new construction going up here, you see new construction going up there, you see people sweeping the sidewalks, which you never saw before, like say 15, 20 years ago. And when you got an area, Monica, that's only 6.93 square miles, and you have the population that's 3 times the amount of North Andover, people are squeezed together. It's difficult. And something, I believe to see this new school, this Lawrence Academy, Catholic Academy going up, to me, it's a shining light.
Well, to jump on something you just said, one thing, whatever Lawrence deserves about all of the social difficulties in our economically very poor city, one thing no one deserves is to be born in Lawrence. None of our kids asked to be born there, and they don't deserve to be in a city where what was traditionally the way out of poverty, education, is not offered to every single kid, the best possible education. So I think that's why we have kids from very, very stable families, and we have kids from fentanyl homes. They did not ask to be born in Lawrence. They deserve the best. They deserve whatever any kid in Andover gets. So to see these kids who not only could they, go down the wrong path, we had 3 fentanyl overdoses among children in the first 3 months of the school year. Sure, they're just because of exposure at home to the realities of today. Yeah. So we know very tangibly these kids not only might go down the wrong road, they may end up dead now or very soon. So it's all the more meaningful why.
Boy, that speaks volumes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
So we graduate 100% of our 8th graders to high school. Last year, 97% to selective high schools. We're the proof that whether you're from the most stable professional family or the family dealing with the worst realities, if you're given a really good Catholic education, you can make it through poverty and you can make it to the very best high school.
And I'm sure, Monica, a lot of these children come from one family homes,
single parent homes,
divorces and whatnot, and that makes it even harder, because
also just to update you, in Lawrence, 1 out of every 3 women who has a child is ever married. So divorce is very rare because marriage is exceptionally rare.
I didn't know that.
So yeah,
I'm glad you came into
there. You go. 60+% of women who give birth in Lawrence are single. 60+% of women are single at any given time in the entire population. So it's not like they later marry. Some do, but most kids in Lawrence come from single parent families.
And they need strong male role models, which, I mean, a testament to what we do. We have 6 priests and a deacon that come in to speak to our children. They see that. We have the assistant principal is a man, the dean of students is a man. So they're seeing we have a 5th to 8th grade mentor who's a man. Both the dean of students and the mentor are young men from Lawrence. So
wonderful.
They are people that grew up the way that our kids are growing up and have found a way to make something really amazing with their lives. And like, it's good for the boys to see that there is, you can work in a school and it's cool.
You know, there's a word called pride. And like I said, I grew up in South Lawrence. I had the pleasure of playing on a football team that went undefeated in the state. And we were so proud to say we were from Lawrence High. You know, if you gave your girlfriend your high school sweater and she wore it, I mean, it would be 90 degrees and you'd be at Salisbury Beach and she'd be walking around like it was crazy. It was crazy. But I think pride. And I love the fact, Monica, that uniforms, everybody wears uniforms. And, you know, something like you alluded to it earlier. If you have a family that has more than others and you can't tell the difference because the outfits all come from the same place, mostly, right? I know you have one distributor that most people go to. And, you know, something that to me, look in the mirror and be proud of yourself, you know, instead of having pants hanging down to your knees. I love it. Baseball caps on backwards. Again, feel good about yourself and you're going to do very well. If you don't like what you look and see in the mirror, you're in trouble.
Sure.
Yeah.
You're in trouble. I loved it. I love this whole concept. And it shocks me the more I read about you. And not because you're sitting next to me.
Mm-hmm. Good or bad?
No, good, good. I mean, you really have you got some juice. You got some juice. Louis, he went out and met with Fidelity and Peter Lynch, who ran Magellan.
Yep.
He became buddy. But was he one of your old friends? Did you know him before?
I worked with Peter for about 10 years on the Catholic School Foundation, which he was the head of effectively forever. So we became
you got your hands in everything, huh?
To repeat, there are a lot of people who really believe in Catholic education. Peter has raised, a couple $100 million for Catholic education in the Archdiocese through the Catholic School Foundation. So he was critically important in lining up people who have already been generous elsewhere, bringing them up to LCA.
I saw that.
And we at the extreme, one day we had 2 men, again, with a history of interest in Catholic education. They visited LCA for the first time. And within 48 hours, they had together given $2.5 million to the new school. So
imagine that, Louis.
It doesn't take a lot. I really think you would have the same experience. You might not have as deep a pocket. I don't. But if you come to our school and you meet our kids, you'd have to have.
You don't have to sell it.
No,
you don't have to sell
there's
it
no selling that happens.
It's not esoteric. It's not even like a high school or a college where you're trying to get your head around what really goes on here. It's an elementary school. You walk in, you see these kids at work, you see them happy. Which an awful lot of people who come in, their first reaction is whatever's going on here. These kids are happy, and this faculty is happy. And if you've got some money, of course you're going to contribute some money.
Right. I noticed the Yorkie Fund was very generous.
$3 million. Yeah, they're our biggest donor.
All right.
Wow.
This he's good. You're good. Just like the movie. You're good.
No, but again, Yorkie has this fantastic history of investing in economically poor people around, principally in Massachusetts and in the Carolinas. And so they do this for a living, and it's a matter of connecting.
I alluded, we were talking off the air, and for 13 or 14 years, I was chairman of corporate fundraising for the Sandalphio Society. And it was a job that I really enjoyed. I mean, I learned a long time ago, if you're going to get a no, well, you gave it your best shot, did a PowerPoint presentation, they still say no. But unfortunately, there were a couple of companies that would not donate because they considered us to be a Catholic organization. under the umbrella of the Holy Rosary Church at that time. Now it's the Shrine. And
we've got that one. We opened another separate 501c3, Friends of the Lawrence Catholic Academy campaign. So if you had that issue today, which most people, but some organizations do, you can donate your money to that nonprofit, which is not sectarian, for Lawrence Catholic Academy.
Ah, that's cool. Do you get involved with writing grants? So you have someone?
I do. We now have.
You do?
I do. A bunch of us do.
Yep,
A number.
we all do.
Monica's
Yeah.
involved.
That is so hard. People do not understand trying to write for a grant.
But
what
once
it
you
involves.
we do have a full-time development director now for our non-campaign fundraising. Once you get into the grant world, there's a menu of about 30 pieces of information. Some of that is going to be asked for every application.
Yeah.
Once you've got it down, it largely is cutting and pasting. So
Yeah.
there's work to get to that.
First one's
Yeah.
the hardest.
Yeah.
I learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
literally. I mentioned to you about Cardinal O'Malley, and in Lawrence we built a brand new building. Probably, it must be about 13 years ago, and it was an expensive proposition. I mean, it was over an $800,000 project, and for nonprofit, that's a lot of money to raise. And we were able to do it, and we burnt the mortgage and all that. And Father O'Malley came down and blessed the building. And he was standing on the front steps as we were walking in after Mass. And he was shaking hands with every member. And he wanted to know your name and what you did for the society. So I said, it came my turn. I walk up and shake his hands, and I give him my name. And so he says, Mike. He says, what do you do for the St. Delphio Society? I says, I'm chairman of corporate fundraising. So he grabs my hand again and shakes it twice and says, when this is over, you come see me. He was hustling even there. And you can appreciate that more than anybody.
Pockets are meant to be picked. That's why God gave us pockets.
Something, if you're in a position that you can help out, and there are a lot of generous people here in the city of Lawrence that supports our society. And we try to be a shining light similar to what's going on at your academy. And, I think a lot of people realize it. And that's why we get a lot of support. Unfortunately, a lot of the key people that through the years, regardless, they were always there to watch our back, always there to help us out. We're losing that generation. Mm-hmm. And I think some of the people that now, they don't really understand much about what the Three Saints did and how the organization was formed to help. It was a benefit organization. Back then the mills drew all the immigrants to the city of Lawrence, and they had jobs, and it was tough. They weren't getting paid very much, but it was a job and putting food on the table. And if someone was out of work because of injury, the society would lend them money from dues, and that's what it was all about. That's what it's all about, and that's the premise of the San Delphio Society. And I look at what you're doing. I look at St. Patrick's Parish, and I know how big it is. And again, being an immigrant, all the little neighborhoods, you had your own church, mm-hmm. You had your own doctors. If you were French, you had Sacred Heart. If you were Irish, you had St. Patrick's Parish. Italians, Holy Rose. It was a wonderful, wonderful thing. It really was. Louis, you want to take a quick break, and we'll run right up to the top of the hour when we come back, okay? We got a lot more to discuss, you and I, and anything you want to chime in with, girl down there. I know you're still high from your first graduating class.
Very happy.
May you have another 45, 50 years.
Thank you.
There you go. All right, we'll be right back.
Ciao, this is Esther of You, Me, and Sicily. I want to talk to you about Tommy Amin and the great staff at Butcher Boy Market. Families, foodies, and home chefs come together at Butcher Boy to talk good food and create traditions. They offer the best in quality cuts of beef, pork, lamb, poultry, and restaurant-style steaks and chops. Produce, All of their produce is hand-selected to complement any meal or even to make it your main course. Their deli serves fresh roast beef, turkey, and beautiful imported Italian cold cuts, cheeses, and antipasto. And don't forget the Butcher Boy Bakery, featuring sweet delectables from all over the state, as well as their very own bakery. That's Butcher Boy, where the secret to a great steak is, of course, the steak. Located at 1077 Osgood Street in North Andover, Massachusetts, in the Butcher Boy Plaza. Ciao!
This is David from the Sicilian Corner. You know, Mike, Tom, and I love to go to Salisbury Beach, but we love different things and can never agree where to go. Tom likes the casual family-style dining with the great Italian cuisine, Capri's Seaside Italian Kitchen and Pizzeria. Me? I love the elegant romantic vibes Sea Glass with the amazing view and terrific menu, with prices that make it the place you want to visit each and every week. Mike loves a drink in his hand and a cool ocean breeze right off the surf and the rhythms of a cooler reggae band. We all know Mike loves Bob Marley tunes at Surfside. Who doesn't love a great show? National acts, comedy, regional favorites, and the beautiful and intimate Blue Ocean Concert Hall. Lucky for us, Atlantic Hospitality is the host of all of these great places, and they treat everyone like they are Mike Lamazzo. Best of all, we never have to choose. Park the car once and all this fun is right at your fingertips. You can have it all in the heart of Salisbury Beach. Find out all the ways you can have a great night at Salisbury Beach at northshorepavilion.com. And Mike, Tom, and I will see you there.
This is Tom Zappala. Located in the heart of downtown Haverhill, the Haverhill Beef Company is a full-service, old-fashioned butcher shop and meat market that continues to be a valued family tradition since 1952. Peter and Monica Carboni's Haverhill Beef offers individualized service from an outstanding selection of marinated sirloin tips, homemade sausage, marinated chicken, and thick, juicy Chairman Reserve steaks. Your family deserves the best, so call Peter at 978-374-4795 or visit their website at www.haverhillbeef.com.
Sisters and co-owners Antoinetta and Elisa brought their family authentic Italian recipes from Molise, Italy, and a warm and welcoming dining experience to its customers at Ristorante Molise. The combination of their meals made from natural, homemade, fresh ingredients, and your time with family and friends together at dinner time is unmatched. Located in Market Square in the heart of Amesbury, they're open for dinner Tuesday through Sunday from 3 to 9 p.m. and are available for private parties during off hours. For reservations, call them at 978-388-4844. That's 978-388-4844.
Hi, this is Mikey. Do you need to have some work done on a cement walkway, stone steps, or the cement deck around your pool? Recently, I had concrete work done on 2 eyesores on my property. Work was done by New Hampshire Masonry and Construction. They service New Hampshire and Massachusetts. The question becomes, was Mikey happy with the finished product? Not happy, but ecstatic. If your project is brickwork, stone, or concrete, get a free quote for New Hampshire Masonry and Construction. A telephone number for more information, 603-438-9168. 603-438-9168.
Legacy Care Law Firm provides estate planning and elder law services to people in the greater Merrimack Valley and southern New Hampshire areas with offices in North Andover and Woburn, Massachusetts, as well as Nashua and Salem, New Hampshire. Discussing family and financial matters with an attorney can be intimidating, but our goal is to help you prepare for the future as you preserve your legacy. We help clients qualify for government medical benefits and ensure their estates are preserved for their families so they don't need to worry about their estate being wiped out by high nursing home expenses. Legacy Care Law Firm attorneys are here to support your journey toward a more secure financial future.
At Catadella Funeral Home, we reinvest in our business to provide your family with the best facilities. It begins with a beautifully landscaped exterior, parking for 250 vehicles, and a comfortable and inviting access to our renovated interior. Funerals can be costly, so you should review and compare plans to make sure you receive services that are fairly priced. I invite you to experience the Catadella difference in cost, facility, and service.
Catadella's honoring and celebrating the lives of the people we loved, providing exceptional care since 1929.
Italian artisan cuisine combines simple, fresh ingredients with time-honored preparation to create an incredible culinary experience. At Tuscan Kitchen, located in Salem's historic Depot District, talented chefs prepare everything in-house from scratch for all to see. Guests enjoy their meal literally in our kitchen as food is prepared right in front of you. Wood ovens burn from morning till night, roasting vegetables, baking bread, and firing delightful thin-crust pizzas. Prime steaks are seared on a wood grill. A rotisserie slowly roasts marinated whole chickens and lamb, while a pasta maker creates fresh fettuccine. More than just artisan cuisine, Tuscan Kitchen features the wine bar, live entertainment, weekly wine tastings, and elegant private dining and event space. Call 603-952-4875 or visit TuscanKitchen.com to make a reservation and learn more about the culinary adventure that awaits. In Italy, cooking is an art form. Tuscan Kitchen. Experience artisan Italian.
Orthopedics Northeast and Essex Orthopedics have joined forces as Mobility Bone and Joint Institute to bring improved access and outstanding medical care. While our name has changed, our dedication to exceptional care remains the same as it has for the past 30 years. Same location, 16 Pelham Road, Salem, New Hampshire.
This is Cindy,
And Mike Kunstler.
owners and operators of Four Oaks Country Club and Grazie Italian Restaurant in Drake, Massachusetts.
Grazie Italian Restaurant is the hidden gem of the Merrimack Valley.
Why is that?
We have an incredible chef, Oscar Figueroa.
In the words of local famous chef and restaurant owner Lydia Shire,
Oscar thrives on hard work.
he is capable and gifted.
No one makes better food. Scallops, seared to perfection.
House-made ravioli with farm-fresh local corn.
And buttery tender, lazy man's lobster, just to name a few.
You have to come experience Grazie Italian Restaurant for yourself.
Grazie Italian Restaurant, located at Four Oaks Country Club, 80 Meadow Creek Drive in Drake, Massachusetts. Hope to see you soon.
And we are back, and we're going to be back till the top of the hour. Our guest is Father Paul O'Brien, pastor of St. Patrick's in South Lawrence, and also president of a brand new school, Catholic school. And I have to say, it's the first Catholic school, I believe, in Massachusetts in the last 50 years. It's being built.
It's the first completely built, newly built inner city Catholic school in the Archdiocese. I don't know for the other dioceses in more than 50 years. Yeah.
Wow, that's something, huh? I can't say enough. I want to ask you about city officials of the city of Lawrence. How much help were they when you came to them and went before the council, Mark LaPlante and the rest of the great men and women are on that board, and the mayor, and proposed your project? How receptive were they?
So I am happy to report that every person in the city government, from elected officials, starting with the mayor, the council, through every department with which we've had to interact, everyone has done somersaults to make this work as efficiently as possible. There are really very fine people who work in the city of Lawrence.
No question.
And what we're doing, obviously, is for the children of the city. So people have responded so generously, so supportively. Again, starting with the mayor, from the first time I met with him, every time I saw him between then and March, it was, well, when is ground going to be broken? We got to get ground broken. When we went to the City Planning Commission for their approval, they actually applauded us for what we were doing. The Historical Commission, which is by nature, it's supposed to be a tough group of people, they were nothing but supportive and helpful. So everybody.
That's wonderful to hear.
I'm happy to say Lawrence is currently, in our experience, a very, very good place to do business.
I was just going to say, it seems like in the last 15 years, it seems to be proactive in trying to bring businesses into the city of Lawrence. Back in the day, Essex Street was it was booming. I mean, it was absolutely incredible. There was no place like Essex Street. And of course, on Sundays, we had the Blue Laws. And, it wasn't unusual to have your parents take you for a walk and walk down Essex Street and look at the windows at Christmas time. Mm-hmm. It was good memories, really good memories. But I'm glad to hear about the business aspect of it. And I think it's really starting to show up because the money is being tossed at the city. And you start seeing, when you see cranes in the skyline, things are good that are happening. You're getting rid of some places and making something new. And I'm glad to see that the arts are really being pushed. Yep. The arts are being pushed big time, and that's important.
Can I connect this to someone sent in two good things here on the comments, Andy.
Andy Parisi.
One is, where can you go or call if you want to help out? You can go to lawrencecatholicacademy.net. I should know our website.
I looked it up.
lawrencecatholicacademy.net, and it has information about the school, about the capital project, about how you can contribute. And then the second one is, it's sad you have to demolish the old building. So it's actually 3 old buildings we'll be demolishing. Important for anyone who cares about this to know, we initially started out looking at whether we could rehab the current buildings in order to host a new school. We did 2 major feasibility studies, and it turns out, for a variety of reasons, really just not possible. Among other things, the current buildings are built on 17 different levels, which are only accessible by stairs.
17.
Which means that no child with any significant physical disability can go to what is immeasurably the best school in the city of Lawrence. That would be very, very difficult to renovate effectively.
Yeah.
The other things are, the school floods all of its subterranean levels.
You're on a stream, right? There's
Yes.
a
It's also
little stream that runs underneath.
Also, the area's sewage outflow, when it overflows, is at the top of the property, so that all of the classrooms, the kitchen, the cafeteria, and the primitive gymnasium flood regularly with sewage. So, and then the last part is, go by LCA someday and just walk up to it. It was built, I don't know how it was built. I can't say on the cheap, but if you look at St. Patrick Church, it is A+ quality materials,
like a
built
rock
to last forever.
You know who built it?
The
Italian Masons.
Oh, was it? Probably. If you go to LCA, you can stick your finger into the brick and pull out the mortar. So our buildings, if we didn't demolish them, within, I'm confident, 10 years, we would have to close them because they've outlasted their physical usefulness. So I do a lot of work preserving a beautiful historic building in Lawrence, St. Patrick Church.
Yeah,
Millions
it is
of
a beautiful
dollars.
church.
These buildings are entirely different in terms of everything. The historical commission, when they went through every single room to evaluate what was of historical significance, came up with exactly 2 items in all 3 current buildings, interior and exterior.
No kidding. I want to ask, either one of you can answer this. Do you have to be Catholic to go to?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. So we have students that are Muslim. We have students that are Jewish. We have students that are other Christian. And so basically, you are required to participate in the things that we participate in. The students all take religion class. We do go to church once a month as a school community, but we don't force it on you. We pray together as a school twice a day. But a lot of what we are teaching the children is good Christian values that everyone should believe in. God loves you. Jesus loves you. You should love each other. Like it's very much rooted in that, as opposed to like somebody standing there and trying to convert children. But we have children from all walks of life that have all different faiths.
One of our, in my opinion, really top graduates last year is from a very devout conservative Muslim family. They are the strongest supporters of Catholic education on the planet.
He's been back to visit 6 times this year. He graduated last year. He's come back 6 times to visit this year, just because he loves LCA so much.
That's because of you. Well, he wanted to see you.
Well, and it's a genuinely Catholic education. It's not Catholic in name. So this is about getting to know God, getting to know your responsibility that God gives you for the world, and trying to grow in understanding your gifts and how you put them to work, first and foremost for God, in service of other people in this world. People of any legitimate faith share that.
Yeah.
Again, we have a brand new school in the city of Lawrence. It comes with an expense, comes with a price tag. 83% of your students have grants or some type of financial assistance.
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
So we are a huge partner with the Catholic Schools Foundation. So the Catholic Schools Foundation is fabulous to us. We have students that receive aid from them every year.
Catholic School Foundation.
Yes.
So that's like a number of major cities in the United States. The Archdiocese of Boston has an independent nonprofit, the Catholic Schools Foundation, which Peter Lynch was the head of forever. They raise money specifically.
Peter Lynch, a good friend of yours, huh?
There you go. Specifically for scholarships for inner city, predominantly inner city students. So they contribute about $1 million a year to our school at this point. Wow. And then we raise ourselves. This year we'll have raised about $1 million on our own. If you were paying full freight, which very few families do, it would be $5,500 this year. Our average family contributes $1,200. So most of the money that is contributed for our kids' education comes from donors. Parents are giving, the average per capita income in Lawrence is $20,858. So $1,200 on average.
Lowest in the state.
Yeah, that's a lot of money if that's your range of income. Our families, we think, are giving really just about as much as they can in most cases. And then I'm giving, and Monica's giving, and lots of people are giving very generously financially.
And we also take vouchers for early childhood. So if you're looking for a pre-K or a kindergarten or before and after school care, we also take vouchers.
Kindergarten is so expensive. I mean, for a working parent.
Yep. In our region, which I'm not sure exactly what that means, but perhaps it's Essex County, there are currently more than 5,000 families approved for state vouchers for early childhood education because of low income who are waiting to get a seat in a school. So with the new LCA,
interesting.
So with the new LCA, we're expanding our early childhood seats from about 75 to about 150. The market is there. There are people literally waiting to get a new seat anywhere for early childhood.
I would like to say thank you to both of you for taking time out and joining us. And I really hope you guys come back with a progress report in the near future. I'd love that. Maybe, around Christmas time when you're not so busy after Christmas.
That's right.
We'll do it in January.
And why don't you come visit us this fall when we're back in session?
Yeah.
You know something? I would love that. I would love it. I thank you very much for the invitation. I'm going to take you up on that.
Perfect. Bring your wallet.
Hey. That's fine with me as long as it's going for it. You think of how we spend money foolishly. I mean,
absolutely.
You know something? You got me convinced. Let me tell you. Hey, listen. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay cool. This crazy weather will go away, I hope, shortly, and get rid of some of this heat and humidity. We'll be back next week, Lou and I. Right, Lou?
Yep.
All right.
Right here.
We'll see you next week, guys. Take care.